If your blood runs orange and blue, this is the pod for you. You're listening to Orange and Blue Bloods, hosted by EJ Stewart and Tommy Beer. Let's get to it, New York.
The ping pong bongs don't swing our way. What else is new? This is Orange and Blue Bloods, a New York Knicks podcast, Audacy WFAN original. I'm EJ Stewart, joined by Tommy Beer. We got plenty to talk about on this episode. We'll be talking about the NBA draft lottery results. The Knicks came in with a slim chance of maybe leaving the draft lottery with a first-round pick, but due to the way the ping pong ball swung, Dallas Mavericks got to keep their pick, which was owed to the Knicks via the Kristaps Porzingis trade. So the Knicks, not having been awarded a first-round pick from the lottery, now do not have a draft pick coming into this year's 2023 NBA draft. So we'll talk about the ramifications of that. We'll also talk about some interesting reporting about the future of Mitchell Robinson and some interesting reporting from NBA writer Sean Devaney of Heavy.com regarding how at least one Eastern Conference general manager sees the way the Knicks may approach this offseason when it comes to potentially shopping Mitchell Robinson. And I think we got to get into the Ja Morant situation. Ja Morant now suspended yet again. We talked about it when he had the first suspension. We had the first incident with the guns. He had another incident this past weekend. He is now suspended pending a league investigation. Adam Silver has talked about it. He's not very happy with how things have gone down. Ja Morant releasing a statement. And I think it's a good time to probably do a true kind of a look back and wonder if the Knicks perhaps maybe were lucky not to have landed a top 2 pick in that draft in 2019. So plenty to get to on this episode. Again, my guy Tommy is here. Tommy, was it weird to watch Eastern Conference playoff basketball and see that the Knicks were not a part of it as the Heat and Celtics battle in Game 1 with the Heat winning on the road?
Maybe those Heat are a pretty good team, huh, EJ?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
We tend to not, believe our eyes, for a while, but they looked pretty good against the Bucks, and they looked good against the Knicks, and they outclassed the Celtics last night. It looks like the Heat could be incredibly on their way to another final. But yeah, it's a little bit of a first week without Knicks basketball, but still plenty to talk about, my friend. So let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. So yes, it is Orange and Blue Bloods, New York Knicks podcast, Audacy WFAN original, a podcast you can get wherever you get your podcasts, including the free Audacy app. Make sure you hit the auto download feature on your streaming service to get these episodes every time we drop. Also, be sure to check us out on YouTube. You can find us on the Audacy Sports channel and the WFAN channel. So let's begin with the draft lottery. So the Knicks will go into this year's NBA draft without a draft pick in either the first or second round. There was a chance the Knicks, again, would be selecting the lottery had the Dallas Mavericks pick landed outside of the top 10. The Knicks had secured a top 10 protected pick from the Mavericks thanks to the Kristaps Porzingis trade. However, Dallas landed the 10th spot on Tuesday, so the Knicks pick from the Mavs now gets deferred to next season as a top 10 protected pick. The Knicks sent their own pick, which was slotted now at 23 after the results of this past regular season. That pick was sent to Portland in the Josh Hart trade earlier this year. So, Tommy, when it comes to this draft lottery, I want to begin with the fact that Dallas Mavericks got to keep their pick. I don't know. I'm sitting there, I'm watching the draft. I see, I guess with Nico Harris, I think was up there. And then that pick goes to 11, and I see it's not Dallas or the Knicks or whoever they would have put on the graphic. And I got sent back to that end of the regular season where the Dallas Mavericks, who were in position to make the play-in potentially had they played out the string, essentially quit on the season and it kind of secured themselves a spot in that top 10. And I still feel like the NBA should have voided that pick. I think that it's a disgrace that Dallas was able to earn a top 10 pick via that kind of nonsense that happened at the end of the season. Do you feel the NBA made a mistake with how that whole situation went down?
At the time, I didn't think so, and I think probably stripping them of a first-round pick would have been a little harsh. Obviously, there was the hefty fine. I'll just say this in terms of the big picture. You mentioned Nico Harrison was on the dais there. Where he wasn't was watching his team in the postseason, and
right.
This is something I've talked about, kind of over the last couple of weeks, and I thought it was kind of solidified and got some pushback from Mav fans, obviously, but the Heat and the Lakers are two of the final four teams. The Heat are now 3 games away from the finals after
Yep.
winning game one. Both of those teams had to survive the play-in tournament. They qualified for the play-in tournament that the Mavericks deemed unworthy of them, or not worth pursuing. And both of those two of the final four teams in the league, the Heat may go from the play-in tournament to the NBA Finals. You're telling me that. Listen, they had some breaks go their way. Giannis injures his back, but all things considered, they came together at the right time. They built some momentum. They got hot. They had a fortunate path, to the postseason, towards the playoff picture. You're trying to tell me that a team with Luka Doncic and a healthy Kyrie Irving couldn't have done the same? Listen, they were against the odds, but what happens if they play the Nuggets in round one and Jokic injures his ankle in game two and misses 4 playoff games? Like, all these things the odds are stacked against you, obviously. But the point is, when you have a generational talent like Luka Doncic and you trade a first-round pick a month before you decide to quit on the season for Kyrie Irving, who's hit some of the biggest, for all the foibles and flaws in Kyrie, we talked about him, put him in a playoff game, dude can score 35 and blindfolded. So for all those reasons, yes, the Mavs got to keep the 10th overall pick in a decent draft. It's a little bit top heavy. They didn't move up. They're not getting Wembanyama. They're not getting Scoot Henderson. They're not getting one of the Thompson brothers. So for all those things, I just think, if there's basketball gods and karma and all that stuff, how does Luka feel about his team forcing him to quit on him when they need him to re-sign a contract eventually somewhere down the road? What happens with Kyrie this summer? How do they kind of reconstruct that roster? Is the 10th overall pick going to make or break the future of the franchise? I don't know. I will just say that there's that. While some folks say, the Mavs have to be ecstatic they kept their 10th pick, let's look at the big picture. Let's wait a couple of years and see how this all plays out. My thought at the time was it was a shameful, decision against the integrity of the sport. It was a bad decision from a franchise standpoint, even despite the fact that they kept their first round pick. Again, it's not like it transfers the 2 second rounders next year. The Knicks are still going to get the 18th overall pick, the 21st overall pick next season. Are you guaranteed that the 10th player picked in 2023 is better than the 23rd overall? There's a lot of variables there. So I just thought at the time, and I think just the fact that the Lakers and the Heat, but again, obviously the Lakers they were the first half of the season, they played poorly. The trades kind of transferred things, but again, the opportunities you had a chance to get a ticket into the dance, and you quit on the season, and we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, it is interesting how you got 2 play-in tournament teams first time to going this far into the playoffs, and now again you got the Heat 3 games away from the NBA Finals. And when you consider how great Jimmy Butler has played, the star player that he is, and how he's been able to carry his team throughout the postseason, you kind of wonder, the way Luka Doncic can get on the heater. Like, hey, couldn't he have maybe went on a run like that? Now for Dallas and where they would have been slotted, they would have been the 10th team or the 19th to get in. So they're seeing the Nuggets in the first round if they win. So are they beating the Nuggets in the first round? That might be a little bit of a tall task considering what we.
But I'll just say this, EJ. Did anyone on Earth have the Heat beating the Bucks in the first round?
Right, exactly. Nobody. Nobody. And the Heat are playing it. The Heat are in the conference finals, and what ESPN said they had a 3% chance to win. So even now they're still being discounted. So anything can happen once you get to the postseason. So that decision I think also was questionable. I don't know. I think to me, yes, some of it is spitefulness because the Knicks, I thought should have gotten a lottery pick this year, given how things worked out. Dallas had screwed themselves and put themselves in a position where they were not one of the worst 10 best teams really from this NBA season. And they kind of gamed the system to put themselves in that spot because they didn't want to lose a draft pick. A pick, like you said, they're going to lose most likely anyway. So for me, I just thought for the NBA standpoint, they should have sent a message. It should have been, hey, we're not going to allow a team to discount the play-in tournament the way the Dallas Mavericks did ever again. We're not going to allow teams to, finagle with lottery protections and the odds in this way ever again. And we're going to make sure that the integrity of the playoffs is untouched. So I thought there was a missed opportunity by the NBA. I think the fact that the NBA, had a fine for the Mavericks, and then we kind of all forgot about it. And to me, I kind of forgot about it until we got to that draft lottery on Tuesday, and I'm reminded, that the Knicks can get a top 10 pick or a top 11 to 14 pick, but it's going to take a lot of luck for that to happen, and that was, of course, because of the moves the Dallas Mavericks made at the end of the season. So the Knicks now come into this draft without a draft pick. Their second round pick they shipped out. I forgot what trade it was, but they shipped that out, so they don't have a second round pick this year. First round pick that they have, their own, was sent in the Josh Hart trade. That is now the 23rd pick. Do you think the Knicks will regret coming into this draft without a draft pick? They were at the combine until Tom Thibodeau was at the combine yesterday on Wednesday.
I don't. I thought the Josh Hart trade was a brilliant trade. Obviously paid huge dividends for the Knicks over the second half of the season. First round against Cleveland. Hart didn't play as well against Miami, but he's a Knick. He's a Knick guy. Yeah. A perfect fit for the city, for the franchise. I shouldn't say there's no chance. There's very small chance that the player you pick at number 23 would have the type of career, let alone in the near future or down the road. Impact, as Josh Hart. So for that reason, and the other thing to remember is that the Knicks don't have a trade the Knicks don't have a draft pick as of today. They could easily buy their way into the second round. They could trade multiple second rounders for a first rounder this year. They could also, if they like, trade into the late first round. We've seen teams, essentially sell, late first rounders. The Knicks have multiple 7 first rounders over the next 11 years. They can trade, 2 future protected picks for one, or pick next year for the, one of the protected picks they have for a pick in the late 20s. And that's really where the Knicks have been successful. Emmanuel Quickly, 25th overall pick. Quentin Grimes, 25th overall pick. These were guys that kind of had lost their luster a little bit, weren't viewed as top tier blue chip prospects, despite their pedigree being, really high quality, highly rated high school players coming out of high school. Going to blue chip programs, playing for quality coaches that prepare you for the NBA, Kelvin Sampson, and obviously Quickly at Kentucky. So I have faith in the Knicks front office to make the right decision. If they are targeting a guy, late 20s, early 30s, early 20s even, I think they have the draft capital. They have the ammunition to get in there and get that player, and maybe somebody slips in the second round that they like. So the Knicks, Jericho Sims was the second to last pick of the second round. They can get easily get another late second rounder. So a lot of credit to the Knicks, front office and behind the scenes guys that have really done a solid job in terms of draft evaluation.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree. First of all, when it comes to Josh Hart trade, and I know there are some fans that kind of saying, "Oh, well, was it worth trading for Josh Hart for that first round pick?" Yes. The short answer, yes. People asking questions. Yes, it was worth trading a first round pick to get Josh Hart, the 23rd pick in this draft. Not having that pick and having a guy who's able to contribute as much as they did, not only in the regular season, but remember also how he played in the first round of the playoffs. Yes, he didn't play well against the Heat, but the Knicks won a round in the playoffs for the first time in 8 years, or 10 years almost, in part because of how Josh Hart played. So you have to give him credit. You have to give Leon Rose credit for making a good move. Now, they got to sign him. I think that's a big deal. You got to be able to keep him. You don't want to necessarily lose a guy like Josh Hart and give up a first-round pick for essentially a 2-3 month rental. Right. But I would think the Knicks are smart enough to know that they're not going to allow that to happen. They're not going to allow themselves to lose a first-round pick for a guy they only had for a couple of months. So if Josh Hart is signed for the next 3 or 4 years, which I think everybody is expecting, then no, I don't think you could look at this draft and say, oh, well, there was a lot of, guys that they could have got 23 that the Knicks will, desperately miss because they don't have Josh Hart. And you got to hope the Knicks actually pick the right guy. I think that when you look at the drafts in recent years, the Knicks have actually been one of the few teams that have actually hit on some of these late first-round picks. A lot of these drafts have been kind of very hit or miss over the last several years, especially when you get beyond kind of the top 15. So the chances that you actually get a guy who can come in and contribute and play at a high level and be as solid as Josh Hart is very slim. It's got to be real. It's a very slim chance. So I have no problem with the Knicks not having a first round pick this year. Is it annoying? I mean, a little bit. I love the NBA draft. As you know, I do a bunch of draft coverage and I follow these guys all year. So the fact that, as of right now, it's hard for me to really speak about players with the Knicks in this draft because they don't have a pick. I know there have been guys who've interviewed with the Knicks. Austin Jackson of UConn said he interviewed with Knicks. So Knicks are talking to people. So if they like a guy, they'll go see if they can try to get him. But I can't sit here and say, oh, well, they've made a crucial error coming into this draft without a draft pick.
Agreed. Yeah. Again, good point, though. I should have mentioned as well. They got to lock up Josh Hart this summer, and I think they will. But that is an important factor in the equation.
So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. If you want to see more of our videos, be sure to check out our playlist and let us know what you think in the comments below.
Also, don't forget to follow us on social media to stay up to date on our latest podcast ventures. Links will be in the descriptions. And as always, thanks for watching, and we will see you in our next video.